Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. I have a return guest on. Her name is Monica Griego, and she was last on the show on January 8th of 2022, Season 2, Episode 10, Season 3, Episode 2, and Season 3, Episode 32, as well as July 16th, Season 3, Episode 79. Now I'm bringing her back on for an update with her case on top of being mistreated by a caseworker, Bryn Lucero of CYFD, and this is the alphabet soup of CPS here in New Mexico. So I welcome you back to Slam the Gavel, Monica. I'm very sorry you're being put through this.
Um, Thank you. Thank you for welcoming to your show. I really have uh I've told a lot of people here in New Mexico here in Albuquerque actually about the show and tried to promote the show to a lot of people, letting people know um about your show. I recently had an Uber driver that told me that, she was really glad to know about your show. Um she said she was really triggered when she heard CYFD and CPS. She was really triggered, and she said that her and her brother both went through it. And this
Oh,
is someone that, you know, like I said, we really cannot judge a book by their cover, or people how they look, or,
right.
or even how they speak sometimes, because it's really happening to all races. It really is.
Mhm.
People that we don't even think it's happening to is happening to them. And as for me, um, I really want to recommend this to a lot of people. Is that you know these these agencies, and I call them agencies because they are different in every state, but they all do the same thing. They all destroy families for profits. And so I really want to recommend to a lot of people, anyone I can, is to really, the only way to close these courts down is to stop showing up. Stop showing up to these courts. I know for a lot of people it's scary. They intimidate you. They try to make you feel like if you don't show up, something's going to happen to you. But, if we're living by God's laws, God is the only person that can order us to do anything. The government cannot order us to do nothing. And that's what I want people to know, is that when they say that they order you to do this, they cannot order you to do nothing that you don't want to do if you are, in fact, a true United States citizen
Mhm.
and you really stand by your real rights, you know. And so, what I want to say is, so last year I went to court, I believe it was October 21st. And last year, my attorney, Maryann Dark Angeles, tried to bribe me to go to family court, making me believe that she was going to represent me. And then she started telling me, I need money. And she was wise enough not to say it in court. But I think the judge deep down inside knew what she was doing. Because this judge, Marie Catherine Ward, here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, she watched in her courtroom Esmeralda's disclosure of sexual abuse video. She watched my husband crying when I cried. And I cried because I remember what CYFD did not do for me when I was sexually abused. And I still have those records today. I can bring them forward. I can show anyone where it says in black and white that I was sexually abused and my mother denied it happening. And CYFD is just as corrupt as my mother, God rest her soul. And the reason why I say that is because they sent me back to my mother knowing that she was going to bring him back into our lives. And I was going to spend my teen years escaping, possible sexual abuse again. And I don't want my kids going through that. And that's why I'm standing so firm with the fact that no, I'm not showing up to these courts. No, I'm not showing up to family court. I'm not showing up to any court that has my name and my kid's name on as defendants. We've more than defended ourselves.
Mhm.
And there is no justice in these courts because these judges don't exist. They're not real. A real judge would honor the Constitution in all ways. And this judge doesn't honor the Constitution. She actually had somebody by the name of Tennessee Baca, a man who's actually posed as a special master, claiming to be a judge. He signed her oath of office, and he's not a judge. I know he's not a judge. And so what I want to tell people is, the Secretary of State, Maggie Toulouse Oliver, has denied my affidavit of status. CYFD ignores and acts like they did not receive my breach of contract notice. And they act like they did not receive the notice to rescind the contract with them. This is beyond corrupt. I have not went to court in 1 full year, and I've stood by my word, which is that I'm not going to be going to a court that does not have a constitution, that does not have a real jury trial, where their jury trial is made up of CYFD workers or supervisors that know nothing about me other than what they lie about in their reports, because it's lies. I mean, they don't know what to say about me anymore other than lying. And what I want to tell people is, even if I haven't went to court in a full year, CYFD has given me visits back.
Hmm.
And that's because they're trying to get me to participate in a second trial home visit, knowing that it's actually foster care. Why do you, there's not even a reason, they can't even define what reasonable efforts are. And that's because in their codes, as they themselves have stated, there is no reasonable efforts. There's not a definition for it because they don't make them. That's how corrupt this agency worldwide is. They don't make reasonable efforts to reunify families, and they never will. It doesn't matter what they've told people all across the world, they never will do this. They will continue until we all stand up, united, state to state, city to city, and county to county, and stand for our rights and stand firm. We need to stand firm as people. We need to stop being afraid of what these foreign agents are doing, because they're not part of our government. They don't believe in the Constitution. And any agency that is trying to make you do something twice is committing double jeopardy and is going against your constitutional rights, because, even if they're, because it does say in the Constitution that if you're charged with something twice, double jeopardy. Well, when they're trying to make you, force you to do something twice, that is double jeopardy. Because if you didn't even give consent, and even if, no one should be forced. And the saddest thing about this agency is that now they're basically spelling it out in their guides, in their new policies that they keep on making up. we left with Brian Blalock as the cabinet secretary, and he left his company called Binti, and something called Axum that doesn't even make sense. And you know, his company, he's basically using it to create what they call reform. And it seems like what they're trying to do is they're using everything that we're coming up with, everything that we're sharing on social media in all these groups and all these websites that we're making in our protests. They're using them against us, like, Michelle Chen has, and the foster care pipeline. They use the word pipeline in the CYFD guide here in New Mexico. And now they're trying to make treatment centers for kids ages 12 to 17 years of age. And now they're trying to make foster care from age 5 to age 26, which is more than against our rights. And now they're trying to add LGBTQ into the mix. And that is wrong. That is disgusting, because they're using transgender they're using them to continue the corruption in the system. They're even telling people in this module they have that they are an enterprise. They even put the word enterprise in there for you to see it. So this is why I'm telling people, pay attention to this kind of stuff that they're putting in these modules. They don't know how to get you to cooperate with them anymore, because they know they don't have a leg to stand on. They know that the moment you say no, and you keep saying no, like me, Bryn Lucero, she has went to the foster home to try to get my daughter Esmeralda Griego to push me into agreeing to a second trial home visit. I'm not agreeing to nothing with these people because I haven't done it in a year. And the last time I did try to do it, they came and they acted like they had my kids going to school. They acted like they were all just acting out her trauma. But by what she watches, like something called the Stella Show. Holly, I can tell by her behavior that she's not in ABA therapy. That they moved her to Bernadette's house. Bernadette Fuentes is someone that my mother-in-law knew. She's not, and I want to emphasize that she is not in any shape or form related to me or my kids or my husband or his family whatsoever. She's not related to my family either. She is a total stranger. She came into Irene's life because she was a caregiver for Mark's dad when he was sick. But she is not related to us whatsoever. So CYFD needs to stop lying about this lady being fictive kin. She is not related to us whatsoever. Yet she has Mark Jr. with her, and she has Holly living with her. And they can lie and say over and over that no, that's not what's happening. That is exactly what is happening, because Esmeralda has said it twice that Holly goes to John Adams Middle School. She goes to that school because she lives with Bernadette, because Bernadette got the DD waiver. Because, I mean, I wish I would have known. That's why they didn't bother to change the address of the girls when I changed it to my mailing address. didn't bother to change it because they basically tricked me into, thinking, oh, let's let Monica get the mail for the kids. So I went and I signed the deed waiver form while Mark still had the kids. And I'm guessing that deed waiver talked to CYFD and worked out a deal with Bernadette. And this corruption, it needs to end because she couldn't take care of my kids even if she tried to.
Mm-hmm.
She let them get hurt in her care, and CYFD did nothing about it. She's starving Holly. She is starving Holly to get back at me. Holly came over for a visit yesterday, and she wanted breakfast. And that tells me that when my daughter wants breakfast in the middle of the afternoon, she didn't eat breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And they're even trying to attack my weight. They're even telling Esmeralda to tell me about my weight. It's like they're trying to use anything and everything they can to get to me. And I'm like, you know what? As long as I stand with God and the truth, what I know is the truth, I don't have to worry about what I look like, how much I weigh, or my past, or how my marriage failed. It failed because I married someone that was beyond broken and never got help. And he himself, now that I think about it, he should have been in foster care.
Mm.
He should have been in foster care because he never got help for the problems that he had. He sexually abused his brother.
Oops, sorry.
And his mom ignored that for years. And then she covered it up by putting him into a religion that's globally known, the Jehovah's congregation, Jehovah's Witness congregation. That congregation, they work with the court system too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people from their organization, their corporation, they work with the courts too. And I just want to tell people, file your affidavit of status, claim that you are alive and you are not dead, as they're trying to make you feel in these courts. And stop showing up, because every time you show up, these attorneys get paid $8,000 for just one court appearance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they can brag.
Could you explain what an affidavit of status is for anyone who is listening and doesn't understand that?
It's basically an affidavit that you claim that you are alive, that you are not dead, that your children are your property, they belong to you, that you are not going to cooperate or contract with your state and their court any further, that you do not consent with them. And by going to these courts, you're consenting.
Mm-hmm.
So when you file that affidavit of status, you need to stand by it. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I miss my kids. What are you going to do to show that you miss your kids? I went and I've made my own flyers. We have a mom that I'm working with right now that her name is Kenya Cloud, and she's Native and she's African American, and there is someone very high in power here in New Mexico who adopted her kids, someone that we know should not be able to adopt kids. And so we're getting together and we're gonna work on, I'm hoping to close down this corporation. I'm hoping that more people come forward about Amanda Veraca and how she's destroyed their case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping more people come forward about Carrie J. Robinson or Carrie J. Savage, whichever one she goes by. I'm hoping that more people come forward about Georgia Quintero. She's known as Goya at CYFD. She's this child service agent. And I just hope more people unite and stop being afraid of these people, because they're just people like us. They are. And they just claim to have this power that they really don't have. Like yesterday, the CSA named Michelle real arrogantly told me when I tried to keep my kids in my home and stop them from leaving with them. She said, well, they're in CYFD custody, like really arrogantly, like they have some kind of power. And my kid went with her. They went with her, and I was just like, my kids are brainwashed into believing that these people are not strangers when they are. They wouldn't go with them in real life if they didn't even know if they weren't in a state vehicle. But they believe that that's their home.
That's so sad.
And these foster parents, she's even trying to push the foster parent to make me take the trial home visit. I'm like, I'm not doing it. We are in America. We are not in a foreign country. And I'm not going to live like we are. Well, maybe half the globe can do that. I'm not doing it. I did it for 7 years. I said on my Facebook, I said, I am done with them. I'm done with the 7-year crusade. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not. There's nothing left to prove. My family, half my family has died. You know, my auntie even said, what more do they want from you? I told them not this last time, but the last time before that. I said, you're not going to get my blood. That's what you're seeking. You're not going to get it. You know, and the media has a lot to do with this too, because they ignore the facts, the real facts. The real facts I've brought into PRQE News 13, KOAT 7 News, they've ignored it. Just as I've said it before, on Kadane, it clearly talks about the public and the media and how these courts and these judges and how they affect the media. You know, and for CYFD to, you know, these courts to basically say that only foster parents can sue CYFD, that's false. That's wrong. We all should be able to sue them. We all should be able to close them down. And you know, I've created a lot of memes to expose the corrupt people in having to do with my case. And the CASA, Jordan Woodall. I've asked her for clothes for my kids quite a few times. She gave my husband gift cards to Target that I don't think he used for the kids, because their clothes. It's like he bought them new clothes, but it sat there. It got rotten. He didn't wash it. I mean, they know that there's nothing left, so they're trying to use what they've got left. And the state of New Mexico as a whole is participating in this, because how could Dee Waiver allow them to place my daughter with somebody that didn't keep her safe the first time?
It seems like they don't do that with a lot of kids.
Yeah, they don't care that my daughter is starving in her home. She's starving my daughter to get back at me. Cussing out my kids.
Yeah. And they, like you said, they wield this power as if they rule the world.
Exactly. And you know, I really hope that more parents exercise their real rights. Like, what is it going to take for people to stop participating in this? Because the more people participate, the more money these people make. And the more we don't get the help we need, we don't get the housing. I mean, everything they should be giving us. Like they just keep on changing what rights we have. Like you can't change what rights we have.
Mhm.
They don't even let the kids know that they have rights. They just make up a fake, and I call it fake because these kids can't speak out about what's really happening to them. If they do, they'll try to hurt them.
Mhm.
Or they'll put on people that do hurt them, and then they justify it by moving them to another home. That's why they keep on going that's why my kids have had 7 placements.
Mhm.
Because nobody wants to really take care of my kids. This foster mom, I gave her a notice to rescind the contract, and she just, I don't know if she threw it away or she sent it to CYFD, but I'm guessing I'm gonna have to actually post it at their door, because they just don't understand what no is.
Hey, Monica, do you know how much money she's getting for your kids?
Well, I know Didi Weaver pays a lot. I know that for Mark Jr., Bernadette gets $2,165 a month for watching him around the clock, and half the time she doesn't even watch him. She's left him there alone, needing his seizure meds, and he's had seizures. There was a CYFD worker or employee that watched Mark Jr. have seizures, and she just came in and gave him his pills in a rush, and he still had seizures, and his seizures are more severe than regular people. He has something called drop seizures where his head drops to the floor or
Mhm.
drops down, and they didn't report her for that. That's adult abuse.
Mhm.
He's an adult now, and he's disabled. I'm thinking she's getting the same amount for Holly, and something is happening with the girl's social security benefits. I feel something really sinister is happening with it because they're acting like they're not receiving it, and I know they are.
Mhm.
Somebody's receiving it. I feel like it's Bernadette receiving it for both the girls because this foster mom wanted to, when I went to Esmeralda's doctor appointment, um, she was talking to the doctor about Esmeralda having autism again, and I'm like, no, Esmeralda does not have autism. They need to get this to the thick skull. She does not have autism. And that's why I even called UNM CDD, Center for Developmental Disabilities, and I told them, I said, how are you going to protect my daughter's rights if CYFD again tries to push this autism diagnosis on Esmeralda? And I think it's time that I send Social Security to the records to prove the before and after test results. And this is why me and Kenya Cloud are going to be going after Amanda Rocca and Carrie J. Robinson or Carrie J. Savage. We are going to go after them because they've corrupted many cases. I know they have. And Amanda should never have been hired with CYFD because of the fact that she does have a criminal record.
Hmm.
This agency is hiring criminals,
Mhm.
and then they're trying to claim us as criminals. And then they're just saying, the CASA. The CASA is a divorced single mother, and I'm almost sure her son has autism because she said that her son sleeps with a white noise machine too.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking that he does have autism, and she probably gets high-end services for him and disability benefits and everything, and she probably gets child support. Um, I feel like the education system, I feel like it needs to get abolished as well because the superintendent here in Albuquerque for Albuquerque Public Schools has also denied me my daughter's, both of them, their attendance records, their IEP records, their report cards, and the public's education department doesn't even care about that. The Department of Justice, I don't know what to say about them. They are starting to make me feel like there is no justice in America. And we must actually truly get out there and fight for it and really close down and reform our government. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by removing our kids from public schools, homeschooling our kids, and just not like I said, never ever opening our door to CYFD or CPS. Because the schools are even doing what they say, and it's like, it's bad. It is really bad when you make a report to the Department of Justice or HUD, which is the part of the housing section of the government section of the housing, and you get retaliated on. I feel like I've been retaliated on in every way possible as a United States citizen. I don't feel like I live in America anymore. I feel like we are just here, and I feel like this government is not. It's not what we thought it was. We never were free from the government. Our Constitution doesn't really stand for nothing anymore, and that's because we have so much corrupt politicians and judges in office, and it all starts with all the Democrats, including this judge that I have. She's a Democratic judge as well, and I honestly believe she paid to get in, because the way she talks and the things that she does, like me, trying to terminate my parental rights for the second time. Can't do that in a court of law. In a real court of law, you can't do that. If you're honoring your oath of office, you're not doing it. You can't do that.
I think they don't have any accountability because perhaps they are being paid off.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just telling more people, don't go to these courts. Stop going. Stop showing up. And I really want to push that on this podcast, is that stop showing up. I know that when we read our name in these motions, as Martin Lynch taught me something very important. He said, get your court documents that you're getting from these people and start really researching it. Start really reading into those words, specific words that they put in there that you don't understand. And I also want to say about voting, people need to stop voting for Democrats. I know that a lot of people have been influenced by their parents' decisions on voting. They've listened to their parents for years. Your mom or your dad had said, Democrats are good. No, they're not good. They're not. They don't care about children. They don't care about families. They care about abortions, and they care about adoptions. And that's the destruction of family and the family units in every which way you can think of it. And I just hope that more people will do what I've been doing and really not attend court. I know it's a scary thing. I know it is. But if you know what's right, and it says in the Bible, it says to not swear. And every time we go to court and we swear, and it's in the Bible not to swear. So what are we doing when we're going to these courts and we're swearing? And we're letting them swear? when they're not telling the truth.
And we don't even know what we're swearing on.
We're not swearing on the Bible.
Right.
Because the Bible says, as it says not to swear, it also says, make your yes, yes, and your no, no. And I've told this corporation, this, CPS, CYFD here in New Mexico, I told them no twice. I even have an email where I have told them no. My attorney is non-existent. Literally non-existent. She should not be getting paid not one red copper penny for me whatsoever by the state bar or by these courts whatsoever, because she has done nothing but corrupt my case and continues to, when it's like she's defending the judge. It's like she's representing the judge.
Mm-hmm.
She's representing the system, exactly what she's been doing this whole damn time.
That's disgusting.
It is, because she's defending the judge, telling me not to email the judge. I'm misapplying the law. No, I'm not misapplying God's law, though. And that's the real law that matters. That is the real law that matters.
See, I think a lot of parents are naive to this, and they don't know what to do until it happens to them.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I mean, like they think that you got this document coming to your house and you have to show up on this date, so they figure they have to go and they have to fight for their kids. It's very confusing to people that don't know what's really going on. And I'm so glad you came on. But like what should a parent do when they get these documents coming to their house and they feel they have to show up? Because I agree with you. I don't think anyone should be showing up to these courts.
I would just say immediately file your affidavit of status. I'm willing to help whoever needs help, but I am, based on the fact that I helped two people that have forgotten about the fact that I did help them and have not, there's dead silence from them. I am starting to charge people at least $40 because postage and paper and ink do cost. So I am starting to ask people for to cash at me at least $40 to start helping them, because I know people are not so poor that they don't have $40 to spare.
I think that's fair.
And I'm not even charging $100, and I should be, because I'm taking time out of my day and to help people. And there's a parent in Indiana that I'm friends on Facebook with that I try to help her, and she says she's going to do it. She's going to file her affidavit of status, but there's no proof that she's done it. She just keeps on saying they're smashing my rights. They're smashing my rights. You got to be the kind of person where you have to decide: are you going to keep complaining about them stepping on your rights, or are you going to fight for your rights and stand up for your rights and stand up for truth, as Martin Luther King said? Stand up for justice, stand up for what's right. Because if all you're going to do is complain about what they're doing and not do nothing, even when someone is trying to send you, and I didn't just try to send it to her, I did send it to her. I even offered to print it out and send it her a copy by mail. But these people are just letting stuff sit there and wondering why it doesn't work for them. And just like Martin Lynch, I can understand why now he charged me the $200, is because he wanted to make sure his work was not going to go down the drain. A lot of people claim they want help, but they don't put the work in. Like, I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be envious and jealous about the fact that I didn't go to court for a whole year, and I still got my visits, and my rights not terminated. And that's because this judge knows that I've completed my plan. She knows that she should be prosecuting my husband for sexual abuse. It is on Twitter that he, is asking for autographed underwear from a WWE wrestler that's a woman.
Mm.
And it's like, when you ask for that kind of stuff, he even said, I don't want to seem weird or anything. You are weird.
Yes.
You are weird when you're asking for that kind of stuff on social media from someone you don't know. You are weird when you're making your children watch porn with you. And the worst thing of it all, CYFD, they didn't even stop him.
Mm.
I know they tracked him. They knew exactly when he was doing it, but they didn't care. I mean, Comcast. I'm hoping that right now he doesn't owe a severely high bill with Comcast internet.
Mhm.
But I think he does, and this is where I really feel like Comcast needs to get closed down as well. Because how can you allow someone to have that high of an internet bill
Mhm.
and not close down the internet? Um, you know, my kids have been just really, really happy to see me. You know, they have the biggest smiles, and but they're afraid. They're afraid of these people, so they're doing what they're telling them to do. Like yesterday with Esmeralda and her telling me about my weight, I said, "Who told you to tell me that?" First thing she said, Bryn Lucero. She didn't say it like that. She just said Bryn.
Mhm.
And Bryn, I texted her yesterday, and I told her, I said, Bryn, stop talking to Esmeralda about the trial home visit. I'm not agreeing to nothing ever. Send my kids home to me and close the case. Leave my children out of your issues with me. You already came to my apartment and were told twice that I was not agreeing with you on nothing. Stop bringing other people here thinking it will change my mind. And she says in her text message, and I'll put the phone number out there so anyone can text this person and ask her why she has continued to do what she's doing, which is holding my kids hostage and really not trying to do her job the right way.
Mhm.
Her phone number is 505 500 6057 for the record. And she said, Monica, Esmeralda asked why she can't go home. I let her know that we need to do a trial home visit. She asked why, and I said, because I need to be able to check in on you sometimes to make sure you're okay and don't need anything. That's the conversation I had with her. I was not alone during this conversation either. You cannot refuse to allow the girls to leave and tell the CSA to call the cops. This behavior is inappropriate and scared the girls. I texted her back and I said, you all scared the girls. You all are going to hell. And they are, because for her to tell me what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, she doesn't know nothing about appropriateness, because you don't defend a pedophile. You
Mhm.
don't defend a man who sexually abused his children. And recently, Esmeralda told me that my husband, that I'm still legally married to, Mark, that he forced Esmeralda to wear makeup,
Mm.
that he was trying to touch her, and that he did touch Holly. And Esmeralda said that she was forced to go to Bernadette's house, even when she didn't want to go. And so to me, this agency cannot tell me what's inappropriate and what's appropriate.
Mhm.
This court and this system cannot tell me nothing. They cannot go and have kids and have a family and have a life and take mine from me.
Mhm. And what was her phone number again? I got the 505. I'm so sorry.
Her phone number is it is 505 500 6057, and that is Bryn Lucero. That is the caseworker for my case. um I want people to text her or call her and ask her why I need to do a second trial home visit, because the first one should have been good enough. And I told them, I said, you didn't hold Mark accountable in that safety plan. This is why I keep telling parents, I may have said this before, but don't agree to no safety plans, people. When I say don't contract, I want to emphasize what I mean. Don't go to therapy. Don't go to counseling. Don't go to parenting classes. Don't go to domestic violence and anger management classes. Don't go to none of it. Because what you're doing when you go to these classes is you're showing that you have these issues, and you're showing that you're contracting with them. You're giving these people a reason, to talk more about you in these courts. They can't build a case that they have nothing on.
Right. And they're making parents jump through all these hoops, and they're still not getting their kids back.
Yeah, so that's why I keep telling people, stop doing this. Stop participating. Doesn't matter what they tell you. It doesn't matter if they tell you, oh, if you took a parenting class, you'll get your kids back. No, you won't. Because I took it and I still didn't get my kids back.
Mhm.
I took a deviant anger management class. My kids are not here.
Mhm.
I mean, they can't even prove half the things they're saying. Just yesterday, I watched them, and I really honestly feel in my heart and soul that they were stalking my social media right in front of me in my apartment.
Mhm.
Because they had their phones out, scrolling up and down, and the moment I go and look at their phones to see what they're typing, they hide their phones.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they hide their phones? Because they know what they're doing. They're stalking me right in front of my face, right in my visit with my kids, and writing a number of lies about me. And this is why I want to tell more parents, just stop showing up to these courts. Start looking at your constitution. Your constitution, your constitutional rights is what matters. Stop being afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King said it. He said, stand up for truth, stand up for justice, stand up for what's right. And when you're going to these courts, you're not doing that. You're letting them step all over your rights,
Mm-hmm.
as if you don't have any. And I know a lot of people are afraid. And I know a lot of people are, egotistic. They're driven by ego, so they feel like they have to prove something. No, you don't. You don't have to prove nothing to these people. They probably live the same way you do. They have the same, either money or the same problems or the same, however your house looks, their house don't look any better.
Well, you know what? It's funny you should mention that, because when I was dealing with my nutty caseworker, I mean, we're talking a screaming banshee, but she went to talk to my counselor. And well, I think all of us were there because she was telling me I was going to lose my job or my career as a nurse, whatever. But as she left the office, she looked at my counselor and said, that woman lives better than I do. So, this is like more of a vengeance thing. They look at how you live and then they pick.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that, that's why I keep like my boyfriend recently tried to tell me, he's like, let's just do a trial home visit. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no. I told him, look at everything that they used against us. I went like an idiot writing a letter thinking, okay, if he doesn't if he doesn't if he doesn't if he doesn't participate or doesn't basically shows them that sorry, my
That's
phone,
okay.
if he does that, you know stays out of our, tells them, oh, I'm gonna stay out of their life for 5 years, they'll stop. No, it didn't matter what kind of letter we wrote to them.
Mhm.
That was their plan. That's what they really wanted, was for my boyfriend to stay out of my life completely. They didn't even want me to have a boyfriend. My attorney even used that against me, saying, "You didn't tell me you got a boyfriend." I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Tell you if I take a shit too?
Yeah. Yeah.
People, I mean, that's nothing. Yesterday, Esmeralda was in the bathroom. She called me in the bathroom to help her, wipe herself and everything. And I know why she did that. It's not because she couldn't wipe herself. It's because she wants any bit of time with her mother that she can have.
Mhm.
She don't care what she has to do to get that time
Mhm.
away from these people, because she knows what they're doing is wrong.
Mm.
I mean, she was
Yeah.
even telling me that that there's kids in school that are in foster care too. And I'm like, yeah, I told the whole world is in foster care, because
Oh my God.
we're not closing them down. We're not stopping them from doing what they're doing to us.
Mhm.
We're letting them destroy us from the inside out, and we shouldn't be. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, stop being afraid. I mean, right now, I know all we have is social media. All we have it is social media. But what are we gonna do? When are we gonna get outside and actually do what we used to do, and actually protest? Really protest, because you know that's the way that we need to do it. I mean, social media, people pick and choose what they are gonna share, what they're gonna like, what they're gonna. And right now we're in a time where even these social media sites, they're picking and choosing if they're going to accept your advertisement or not.
Mhm.
But
Well,
if we protest, we
mhm.
don't have to worry about that.
You know, funny you should say that, because in Yonkers, New York, they have been protesting outside that courthouse because there's a nutty judge with a record, and they let her sit on the bench and destroy families. There it is. So at least they've been protesting, I think, 2 days in a row now, it seems.
Yeah, and that's what I think I'm going to be doing. Me and Kenya Cloud, we both plan to get together and protest outside of KOAT News 7 here in Albuquerque, and I'm hoping my boyfriend will join us. Um, even yesterday, the CSA was trying to get me to talk about my relationship by telling me things like, "Oh, aren't you glad when they're gone?" Like, excuse me, who is this lady trying to get me to talk about my relationship? Because we're not posting on social media, because we're not showing each other attention on our social media. So now they're like, "Ooh, what kind of relationship do they have?" Yeah, because we're having a relationship that people don't have these days.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's because I've been telling my boyfriend, my aunt, my uncle, they both had problems. But you know what? They didn't involve people. They're very private, very to themselves. And you know what? I think that was the best thing for them. And I really wish more people were like that, would bring that back to their lives. If we were more private and we got off social media, we
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have the problems we have, because every time we have a problem, we always want to run to someone,
Mm-hmm.
or want to find someone new to talk to, but we don't want to really fix our problems. And right now, my relationship's going good. It's better than my marriage was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, how? I'm like, you don't know how, because you don't live it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not showing it to the world anymore. That's what they're so curious about. They're like, we don't know them. No, you don't know us.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what we're like as a family, and that's what they want. That's why they want to do another trial home visit, because they just want to be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
They want to just pry into your life, and it's like, stop prying into my life and just focus on your own, people. Focus
Mm-hmm.
on your own life.
I agree with you there.
I want to mention um my friend Bridget Elizondo. She has she came up with an idea, and I think it's really good. Um, After I'm working with Kenya, and after we I'm hoping that what I do with Kenya um does push, New Mexico to close down CYFD. But if not, you know, as Bridget has said before, you know, we need to find corporations that we can boycott. And you know, there's quite a few sponsors that are sponsoring New Mexico Kids Matter right now. Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're sponsoring them. So they're basically donating to the corruption. United Way.
Mm-hmm.
United Way sponsors family destruction. So how are they, you know, I mean, it does nothing for the people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't even call United Way for real help. You can't call them for a food box. You can't call them for nothing.
Mm.
They'll just tell you to call 311 or 611 or something like that. Or they'll give you a list of resources. But, you know, that's another thing is that, you know, this foster care system that we have that keeps on changing on us. I want to leave someone with the people with an important message here. While this system keeps on changing their corruption, they keep on changing the corruption to try to fool people into believing that it's not corrupt, when the people have more problems than we do. So I want to leave people with this message here. God, if you believe in God, if you have faith and trust in God, the one that created this world, the one that created the trees, the ocean, the sun, the moon, the stars, you will know that God does not change. And these agencies continue to change their corruption because they're evil. And I want to leave people with that. And I want everyone to know this. There is no good faith or bad faith. There is strictly faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the Bible. There is strictly faith. And it even says in the Bible that you will know them by their fruits. You will know them by what they represent. And you don't mix good fruit with bad fruit. You don't mix good people with bad people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people need to realize, is that the more we don't seek God, the more we don't understand and don't try to even see that God doesn't change. He doesn't change how he loves us. He loves us right or wrong, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And these corporations, when they continue to create these modules for behavioral health, for mental health, for emotional health, and even trying to confuse us by throwing in the LGBTQ, it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to realize that. Anyone that believes in God in America will stop going to these courts, will stop voting for Democrats entirely, and will encourage everyone to do the same. Because we can't reform government if we don't start with CPS. We need to start where it's really happening. And one thing I want to say too is I've made a video about it before, but the 13th Amendment. We need to make sure that the 13th Amendment, the official one, the real one, that the United States president goes back and honors it and puts it where it really belongs. Because if he really does do that, there will be no CPS. Because it says that attorneys cannot be in public office. any real United States citizen cannot be in public office. There's more to it than that. I'm gonna be me and Kenya are gonna be researching. We're gonna be hopefully going to the library and trying to find and make sure that New Mexico doesn't have, that our 13th Amendment here in New Mexico was not ratified.
Mhm.
Because if it was, and we do find the proof, and I'm praying that we do
Mhm.
find the proof, we can close CPS down. But the thing is, we have to get these Democrats to actually side with us. And right now, they're not doing nothing but destroying New Mexico.
Mhm.
And sometimes I don't even know if we should even trust Republicans.
Mhm. Oh,
Because I have tried to trust them, and they show me every time that I can't.
if it's any consolation to you, I went into family court as a Democrat and I found out all the judges were Republican. So I changed my status to Republican, thinking that would help my case. And it didn't do that either.
Yeah, and so that's why I don't know who to trust in government. And that's why right now my faith is in God and everything that the Bible talks about, which is, judges are supposed to help the poor, and so are attorneys, and they're not doing it. They're selling our kids, and our kids don't know it. They don't know that they're being sold. And I'm not gonna sell my kids to the state. I'm not gonna give my kids up just because they want me to.
Right.
I mean, the way I feel is this: there should be no foster care after 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like since the Queen died, I feel like the UK and the fact that they own the IRS, the fact that they own Social Security, they've allowed our government to make foster care at age 26. And that is flat out wrong, because I can't imagine someone being 18 years old and still in foster care. You're a grown adult.
Right.
19 years old, you're a grown adult. So that is completely illegal.
Yeah, it's a form of control and slavery. When does it
Exactly.
end?
Yes, and so that's another thing I want people to know. Like, what are you gonna do if you're 26 years old and you're actually gonna believe this system is gonna help you?
Mm-hmm.
To anyone out there that is between the ages of 18 to 26 years old right now, you need to know that this corporation that has promised you housing, that has promised you services, that has promised you everything they promised you, they're only doing that to separate you from your family, to stop you from, finding your real family. And like I said before, the adoption tax credits are now $14,900. That's a lot of money. And that's why I tell people, we need to stop glorifying adoptions, stop glorifying foster care. When we do that, we're showing the elderly that we don't care how hard they worked for our rights. Because the elderly, they're taking from the elderly to give to foster care. They're taking the elderly people's retirement, full retirement. The full retirement they should be receiving today is going into foster care. That's why they're raising the Social Security in some states to $148 extra this coming year. Because they know they're putting more money, even federal funds, into foster care. This is why I'm doubting the federal courts. This is why I'm doubting the government entirely. because they're taking federal funds and they're putting it into foster care, which basically says that the government doesn't care about you whatsoever. At the federal level and at the state level, they do not care. If they can continue to put money into this system that purposely is broken, that purposely destroys families, they don't care.
No, they don't.
And the only way to overturn government is to stop showing up. I'm going to say that again. Stop showing up to these courts. I have not showed up for a year, and I've stood by what I've filed. I've stood by my affidavit of status, even if the Secretary of State denied it to me, even if the clerk of court was trying to charge me to file it. I've stood by what I believe in and what I wrote. And I'm just hoping that more people will do the same. Because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And we can't change this government unless we stand up for what's right.
And we have to stand together.
We have to stand together. You know, there's a song that I've been trying to push on people to hear, and I know that it's, you know, a lot of people don't listen to rap music, but a rapper named SPM, South Park Mexican, he has a song called The Day of Unity, and he's singing about what happened to his family and how the system destroyed his family, and how, you know, how these women accused him of rape, and he's been in prison for a long time, and I can relate to that song because, you know, we want to buy the whole world for our kids. There's so many parents that are out there that are talking about how they buy specific things for their kids and they save them and save them and save them. We need to stop doing that because our kids are never going to see that stuff. What we really need to do is not show up to these courts, because my attorney hasn't contacted me since I told her that I wanted some of the money back that she was getting for not standing up for my case. And, you know, it's because she doesn't know what to say. She doesn't know what to do. She knows that she's not going to work for me.
I don't think any of them do.
They never will. And that's why I'm so firm. I'm standing so firm, you know, is because if I don't stand firm, where's my faith in God? I mean, they can take everything that they want from me. They can take, you know, I want to talk about this this thing that I had called Bell's palsy. I really honestly believe, and I told my boyfriend this too, is that I feel in my heart, my soul, and no one can change my mind about this. I honestly believe, and I almost honestly feel that Judge Marie Catherine Ward paid someone that was homeless to assault me at work, because this man came out of nowhere and started talking to me like he knew about me. And the police arrested him, but I never got a summons to go to court. Never got a summons to go to court. The company that I was working with, Allied Universal, never went to court to talk about or defend their employee. And they say that they have, that they have attorneys, and it's like no one cared. I mean, I can't even get
no accountability.
I can't even get unemployment because, you know, we're working with corporations or agencies that want to lie, like Roslyn Risk Consultants. They lied about me working the hours I worked. And I've been out of work since August 22nd, and that's why I'm so thankful my boyfriend is here, because he's been helping me support the girls, and he's been supporting me. And I've been getting some assistance with the rent through a program here in New Mexico. But I mean, I feel like if everything I'm doing gets me my kids back, then I have no other no other choice but to encourage people to have courage, to have faith, and to stand for what you believe in. Stand for what you really know is true and right and good. Because if you don't stand for it and you let them change your mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's like making a deal with the devil.
Oh, yes.
So I want to tell people, it doesn't matter what they promise you, you know, you know, they can promise you everything, and they can even give you some money back or give you clothes for your kids or whatever. They gave me some clothes for Holly that doesn't even fit her, that she really doesn't even like. And that's not gonna sway me into a trial home visit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially. I'm not gonna do nothing with these people.
No.
I'm done with them. There's nothing left for me to prove. They need to prosecute my husband, they need to send my kids home to me, and they need to stop lying about the fact that they use mothers' cases or any case to destroy families.
Mm-hmm.
Like in one of their codes where they say that they their duty is to fairly deal with the parents. No, it's not. Because you don't tell fathers that they have a consequence for staying with the mother. Why would you even do that? How can you put that a man has a consequence for staying with the mother of his child? And then,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the same sentence put, we treated mother and father as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that same paragraph, they put, the father completed his treatment plan, but the problem was mainly with mother. I've said that before.
Yeah.
And people need to recognize when they say that, they're tricking you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're saying, no, we don't want the father with the mother. We only want the father to complete his plan. And we have a problem with the mother.
And that's how they get you.
Yeah, and then they have a problem with the mother and father being together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I say this corporation is just out to destroy families.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. Like you will never get the same feeling about your cousins or your aunts or your uncles or your nieces or nephews or nobody anymore. Because of these people.
Mm-hmm. You know, go ahead.
Most of my family has kind of left me behind, or they've watched me, and I don't know which one it is. I don't know if they've left me behind or if they've just watched me. But I just know that we really need to close this corporation globally down,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to really abolish the system. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, you know what? There's kids that are still abused and neglected by their parents. Yes, that's true. But here's the thing, right now we're raising a lot of kids that are very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we didn't discipline them.
Mm-hmm.
We let the state discipline them, and they didn't discipline them. The state doesn't discipline them.
No.
The state does not do nothing for your kids.
No, except drug them up.
Drug them up, profit off of them, and brainwash them, and
Mm-hmm.
lie to them about your existence. lie to them about if you're dead or alive, and make the adoption agencies more popular.
Mm-hmm.
So popular that we have I have found this list. I think it's CCAI or CCAG. I don't know which one it is, but I posted on my website. I've posted, I think I posted the one for New Mexico, and that's because I don't think everyone's paying attention to it. I did find Donna and Frank Payne on there as award recipients of adoption, like some kind of angels for adoption or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not angels. You're not an angel if you're destroying families. And they think that the kids that they're raising right now, they're angels to them. They're not. I
So
mean,
sad.
I know a lot of people say, oh, some kids are not better and better off with their parents. And as bad as I had it with my mom, I think me being homeless for the time that I was homeless when I was 15, it helped me because I didn't feel entitled. I knew I had to work for what I have. I knew I wasn't better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all CPS does. They make every kid that they have in foster care, from the time that they're babies,
Mm-hmm.
they make them feel entitled. They buy them so many gifts, so many clothes. And when those kids come home, they don't come home with that clothes, those gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Because my kids didn't come home with that stuff. So they just do it purposely to basically throw it in your face that, look, we have the money, we have the resources, and you don't. We have the money and the resources to brainwash your kids into loving us and forgetting about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I keep telling parents, if you can, take the baby pictures, show your kids, this is who you were when you were a baby. This is me and you. Sing them songs you used to sing, read them books you used to read. We need to get back to doing stuff with our kids that don't involve technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another thing. They have our kids so warped on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on phones that we can't get our kids off these phones.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
My daughter Holly, for her having autism, she knows how to spell what she wants on YouTube. But when it comes down to actually writing her name or spelling on a piece of paper, she can't do it.
Mm.
So, I just want more parents to really just stand for your rights. Please stand for your rights and say no to these companies.
Mm-hmm.
And let's boycott them. Let's close them down. There's no time like right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the best time. I mean, we even have a parental rights amendment that's parentalrights.org is promoting. They're talking about more people in Congress pushing for an actual parental rights amendment. And I'm hoping that more people in their respective states will write the legislators for their state and tell them, these state representatives, and tell them you want the parental rights amendment in your state. Because I mean, if we don't push for that, we're not going to get what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have our children back home and safe. Everyone does. Everyone, we shouldn't have to be searching for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids shouldn't have to run away from foster homes to be heard. And we shouldn't have to be dealing with judges that are liars. Judges that are, practicing and participating in corruption.
Well, if a parent has any questions and they want to talk to you, how do you want to be reached?
Well, I do have my website that's on my Facebook profile. Statutes for Families Fighting CPS, something like that. It's on there though. I do have my email. My phone has been broken. I don't know why. I feel like CYFD was possibly behind it breaking because it was working really good and it broke. So I'm having to get a new phone pretty soon. But when I do, then I'll be able to access stuff a lot more easily and share things that I have shared in the past with people. As I said before, I am charging a $40 non-refundable fee just to help people, because a lot of people are coming with cases and they're trying to create something just for themselves, just for their own personal gain. And I don't work that way. I don't just help one person for their personal gain just for them. Like, I mean, we need to be a team in every state. We need to gather as teams. And in Holly's memory, we need to do it state to state, city to city, county to county. And I do believe John Tree is correct that we do need, we need to have our legislators pass the remonstrance considerations that I've sent to everyone that I can here in New Mexico. And everyone, at least at the roundhouse here in New Mexico. I'm hoping that more parents will learn how to write to these people, learn how to talk to them, and that's just basically being more professional. When you're writing an email, and if they don't want to listen to your email, write a personal letter. I still believe that personal letters can work. Even though I don't trust the mail anymore, because I feel like the Democrats are behind the mail, the fraud in the mail, and where they decide what mail goes out or who gets what. And that's why lately I've had to ask a few people when I've sent stuff to them, they've received it, and I've had to take a picture. And that's sad when we have to start doing that, because that just means our government is more corrupt than just CPS.
Exactly. Well said. And I know I'll have you back on for another update on what's going on, but man, you gave us a lot of information and I totally appreciate it. I hope people listen and get in contact with you for any questions. So, hey, don't jump off. Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again here with Monica Griego from New Mexico and other guests. So thank you so much, Monica.
Thank you.